everything that's going on in the country right now. Um, we need all branches across the state of Georgia. We need them organized and ready to work because we need all eyes, uh, everywhere. We need people to be working because uh, it's just like they seem like they're trying to take us back, and so we got to be able to organize the NAACP across the state of Georgia. We do have branches across the state of Georgia, but we don't have what we need to have, and so that's going to be my goal in making sure that we have branches set up across the state of Georgia, and also some other things that may be affecting our community as far as people with evictions. That's one of the things I would want to try to get each branch to adopt, is to get trained where they will be able to help people with the Georgia rental assistance. Our branch is already doing it. Some of the members in our branch is already trained in assisting people. So that's something that we want to get also across the state of Georgia, get people trained to do that. And also, we want to across the state of Georgia. I want to get people as court watchers. We got to uh, be a part of sitting in on these cases in the courtrooms to make sure justice is served equally. So,
Absolutely.
yes, sir.
And of course, this past week there were some conclusions made on the situation in Crawford County. Um,
Right.
those of you who have, followed that know that, according to what was said, that the sheriff that actually, the officer that actually shot the gentleman there was not charged, and so I don't know what the next step for that is. Could you share anything with that, President Westbrooks?
Well, I spoke to a representative of the family this past weekend. They do have an attorney, um, and they're basically saying something different. I know the district attorney made a decision based on the GBI's report. I'm just kind of weary of that, and I guess of that because I've never everything that they've investigated. I've never seen them come back in favor of the person that died or was the victim. Well, actually, it's always been in law enforcement's uh, in favor. So that just kind of worries me that there's always their findings. But I do know they do have an attorney. The NAACP will work along with the family since they made contact with us. Like I say, they do have an attorney, and we can't overstep the attorneys. But I do know that they planned on pursuing for their families' uh, rights, and for they don't think that it was justifiable. So hopefully they'll be able to get a copy of the reports, copy of the GBI report, and a copy of the autopsy. I know there's some belongings that they still have, that maybe those will be, hopefully those will get turned over soon. So yeah, that was a ruling, and a decision was made not to prosecute, but the family is continuing to uh, because they're I can't discuss a lot of things right now, but there is some things that played a part in this, and I'm not a spokesperson for the family, but I do know that they're pursuing to continue to fight for justice for their son and
Absolutely.
family member.
And also over the weekend here locally in Macon, there was an individual who was killed on Harold Street, supposedly this Saturday
Right,
after he was
right.
released. I think he was released on Friday from the Bibb County Jail, and then was killed. That's this Saturday, and so it's just a lot that's been happening around here locally as it relates to shooting. Also, there was a local home invasion where husband and wife were actually beaten in their home. They were attacked in their home. Um, so when you start looking at crime and murders and shootings and those kinds of
It's
things,
just
it's a whole lot.
and it got to stop somewhere. You know, we're here and we're constantly fighting for people's rights and for their protection, to protect their rights. But then when you just this type of killing, that spree that's going on, where you just taking the law into your own hands and you're hunting people down and killing people, that's something that we cannot protect. We can't protect. It's not justifiable. And so, but we do, you know, what we got to do is, I just don't understand. Do they not understand that there's consequences? And I think a lot of times when they commit these crimes, they really think that they're not going to get caught. But you know, they got the law enforcement got ways of finding out who does what, and so it's not been very few crimes that they have not been able to solve. Um, I'm just, this incident that happened Saturday morning. This young man just got out of jail for one understanding. He was released, um, basically saying that he was not affiliated, didn't do anything wrong, or didn't find enough evidence to actually charge him for it. So they took the law into their own hands. But is this worth your freedom?
Exactly.
Because it depends on how you kill someone. Whether a life sentence is not 10 years, a life sentence is 30 years. You got some people are serving 2 life sentences in jail, in prison. So, I just want people to understand, and know, is it worth your freedom when you take the law into your own hand? Because what you do is you put your family, you put your parents in a situation where they gotta send money for years, 30 years, putting money on your books to that they don't have. And so maybe not even have to do it, but they do it because they're incarcerated. All of these things, people need to think about before, because you put your family into situations, and then, everyone has a right to an attorney, but then, you know, and then when you commit the crime, you run and hide, and then you won't turn yourself in when you know you've done the crime. Now, if you can just blatantly out shoot and kill somebody, you should just walk on in the jailhouse.
Exactly. And when we see all the local crimes that take place, shootings and those types of things, and then you look at what's happening, across the nation, uh,
Right.
it lets you know that it's a problem all across the country. It's
It
not
is. And it's
not just
not just that, right. You're right. It's just not in Bibb County. I know a statement was released today in reference to the shooting for the in Buffalo, New York. I know a press conference was made this morning from the Georgia State Conference for the NAACP in reference to that shooting. And so um, it's like you say, it's all where it's across the country. It's just not
absolutely.
here in Bibb County, and yeah, it's bad. It's actually bad, but it's it's not just here in Bibb. I just don't know. I'm not gonna put it on COVID because they were shooting and killing before COVID, and
Absolutely.
so we just gotta, you know, I just don't know if what their thoughts are. You can't. I just wish we could just sit down and talk to someone. Just think, sit and just what what are their thoughts when they commit these crimes? Do they just think that they can just do it and and just get away with it, and there's no punishment for it? I just we got these young people that are not thinking. You're talking about 30 years in prison.
Absolutely. And then when you look at the Buffalo case, you're looking at a young person who drove hours to come deliberately to kill black folk.
Yeah,
Um, it's a hate crime that took place, and to know that type of hatred, is still resonating after years and years of freedoms, people being able to try to get along with each other. But that kind of hate is being galvanized. It's being pushed on the internet.
Right, right.
Those,
It is.
and so we have to address these issues. We've got to speak truth to power by holding even social media accountable for
Accountable.
the things that they play, the role that they play in spewing a lot of this hatred that's going across.
Right, because he's too young to even to have any type of knowledge or experience um, uh, from what he's basically saying. And it's what I read was basically, they're basically linking that the white race is going to be wiped out, and so um, you know it's a learned behavior with someone that age. And like you say, a lot of it probably they sit, some of the things that they found in his home, they're basically looking at this stuff on television, and they're getting this stuff on television and from social media, different platforms of social media. And you just for you to just go and just think this thing through and travel this far, and that particular place is a place known for a lot of black people to actually uh, visit in this supermarket. But he was proudly gave a statement, and he didn't try to hide that he didn't do it. He told why he did it. He was very um uh, sure of what he did. I'm saying he just didn't deny that what he felt. And so um they were saying doing a psychological evaluation, but there's nothing wrong with him. you know
People always want to cry out something psychological when it's faced with, particularly if they're captured. A lot of times there's losses that occur during these type of shootings that
Mhm.
the actual perpetrator many times doesn't live to really talk about it. But in this
Right, right.
case, he's apprehended. There were some things on social media where even some Caucasian individuals were talking about white privilege as far as how that particular suspect was handled, and if it was some person of color, if they would have handled them in the same manner as far as the apprehension and those kinds of things. And
Hmm.
so, you know, um, it's kind of reflective of a lot of the things we used to see back in the '60s, and now all those things are beginning to happen now in 2022. And I do hope that individuals are paying attention when it comes to these types of things that are occurring. Even now with Roe versus you know Wade, when you
Wait.
look when you look at that, that's being challenged. Here in 2022, um, it just shows you that we're making a few steps forward, but many steps backwards as far as
Right,
a lot of things going on. And so people have to be engaged. And that's why we're always soliciting support for people to join the NAACP, because it's not just your fight and my fight, but it's the people's fight. And if you want to be in the fight, of course, you got to become a part of the team that's engaged
fighting.
in the fight.
Right.
Absolutely. And so, if you want to join the NAACP, we'd love to have you join our local chapter here in Bibb County. And you can give us a call. You can even call now here at the station if you want some information in regards to that. That number is 478 250 1444. Once again, that's 478 250 1444. And we'd also love to hear from you and hear your opinions about some of the things that are transpiring around the globe, um, particularly in Buffalo, as well as locally here in Macon. A lot of the crimes that are occurring. What's your take on it? What's your feeling? Because it becomes almost personal to all of us, when so many people are affected, particularly in a mass shooting.
Right, right. And I don't know how much time we got left, but how much time do we have left, Mr. Dumas?
We've got a few minutes because they've got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
About 10
Well, I
minutes.
just want to, a lot of people do not know the mass shooting that happened in South Carolina. Um, uh, the Macon B of NAACP, we sponsored a um, actually a trip to South Carolina to attend the funeral services for those families, um, victims that were killed in South Carolina. When the young man that was almost about the same age, came into the church and uh, killed the people there in church, and that was a hate crime also. But I had the opportunity um, to attend the
Connecting the community through gospel. The
funeral
new
services.
107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO.
But I had the opportunity to attend those funeral services. Um, uh, we rented a limousine. Some other members from different branches um, went with us, so we went. Was there the entire weekend. But we had the opportunity to attend those funeral services for the victims there in church. And again, that was horrific. It was just terrible. Um, and we sat there through the funeral services, and just it was just people. It was just outpour of support from people of different races was there. Um, you know, I think I took a picture with Jesse Jackson. He was there doing the services, and and people just standing out everywhere for support, and for someone to for this young to have those types of feelings of hate toward another human being. It's just it's no way possible that somebody can be born uh, with hate in their hearts like that. This is something that is a learned behavior. Whether you're watching social media, and then you're actually um, watching this, and you're basically training yourself, and in your mind, you're actually um, gathering all this information, and you if you do your research and do your history. But people are actually fearful that there would not be a white race, and a lot of this is where a lot of this is coming from. So, but it's a taught behavior. People are it's a learned behavior, and it's just something that we I just don't see any way around it. People say that we shouldn't concentrate on the past. We got to move forward, but it's no, like someone said Saturday this past weekend. You got to know where you. I think it was sent to Lucas, said you got to know where you come from in order to be able to go forward. You got to know where you come from. So this stuff is not something that's going to go away. We just have to figure out a way how to deal with it, and how we're going to handle it, because it's not going away. One thing I do wish people would be um, uh, watch their surroundings, anything suspicious, because we don't know. If you have to travel, try not to travel alone. You just don't know what people mindsets when you're somebody can just see you driving down the road and see that you're a black person, and may and try to harm you. We just need to make sure that we people, you know, uh, watch their surroundings and try not to travel alone,
And a lot of this
especially
is
out of town.
fueled, a lot of this is fueled by rhetoric from various candidates that are pushing their particular agendas.
Right,
And, when you hear this type of information, it pushes people to act, just like what happened January 6th with the insurrection, with the
right.
president of the United States and others, kind of fueling a lot of this stuff. It engages people. It gives people that confidence to do those things that they probably didn't have the courage to do before. And we're seeing a lot of these things play out simply because of that. And so we don't really know what trouble is. And so as you mentioned, we've got to be more vigilant now in watching your surroundings. You know, being cautious with things that we do and things we attend, because we don't know what the next shooting is going to be. We don't know what's going to happen. And so we just have to know that there's evil people in the world, and they're going to always be there, and that we have to do what we can to de-escalate those types of situations. When you're on the road, don't get caught up in road rage. A lot of times, just a simple traffic infraction by someone else can cause the death of individuals because of
Right. It's just set something off, something that's already there.
right.
And it just trigger it. So yeah, we just got to be mindful. But I just think that we're supposed to be in a time where we're supposed to be making progress, and it seems like the people continue want to take us back, further and further back. But that's not going to happen. It's too many. You got too many people that are educated enough to know what it takes to keep us from going back. That's how come it's so very important that people get out and vote. We gotta vote.
Got to
They're
do it.
counting on us not voting. Just about everything that we do in this community, in this country, it has to do with voting. Laws, healthcare, education, um, criminal justice, everything has to do with voting. We vote people in these positions, um, uh, to run our country on a state, local, and on all different levels. So everything is about voting. And I'm just encouraging people, to get out and vote. People are saying, I'm just hearing people saying, don't even worry about the absentee ballot, just get out and vote, because that's what they've made it hard on the app, being able to actually request the absentee ballot, and then being able to request the application and being able to submit the absentee. So, if you are able to vote, I voted absentee, but it was because of COVID. But I will go in and I'm going to go ahead on and vote early and vote. But we just, people just need to vote. If you're
Uh,
able to go vote, because that's where they're targeting these absentee, where people were voting by absentee ballots.
all right, we're out of time, but we glad you joined us today and hope you'll join us next week. So until then, have a good evening from the NAACP.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwenette Westbrooks and Mr. Dumas. Come join us next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. on 980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants,